This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes, and if you're going to Walt Disney World soon, why not stay in a great All-Star Vacation Home that has lots of space? Everyone gets their own bedroom, full kitchen, your own private pool, movie room, game room. These are some of the typical amenities. Typical, meaning this is more than likely what's going to be in your All-Star Vacation Home. And you know what? It's for a fraction of the price. I love to use All-Star Vacation Homes when I need a full-on, huge house for a fraction of the cost that would cost me to rent that kind of facility at Walt Disney World, even if they offered it, because they don't. There's no houses for rent. Check them out online at www.allstarvacationhomes.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, March 4th, 2010, and this is episode 690 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. And Mike, it's been kind of sparse around the WDW Today studios this week, huh?
Well, sitting around the campfire right now.
That's right.
It's Friday. It's Tent Fest.
How did I forget? Duh.
Yeah. I'm looking at you sitting right on that nice lounge chair. We get the fire going, get s'mores.
Ah, yes. Please pass the Jiffy Pop. You please pass the Jiffy Pop? Also joining us on today's show is the fabulous Annette Owens, a manager of customer relations and group services for MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Hey, Matt. I can't believe we are doing this stupid camping thing in the cold.
Your enthusiasm that never ceases to amaze me.
After camping, I'll be much better.
Well, on today's show, we're actually going to be playing some interviews that myself and Mr. Scopa did last week at the ESPN Wide World of Sports dedication. And what happened was the Wide World of Sports complex was rededicated, it got rebranded, if you will, to be with ESPN. And the Disney invited myself and Mr. Scopa were able to go to the event, and there were all these really big athletes that evidently I didn't know who they were. I knew some of them, but I met guys like Bobby Cox, who's the manager of the Atlanta Braves, Tim Hudson, a pitcher for the Braves. There was some guy from the Jets. Newell, who was the guy?
Oh, wow. I actually... You got me.
I did it just because of you. If he wasn't for the Jets, I wouldn't have cared at all because I don't know who he was. And Scopa, of course, was all about anybody who played for any New England team.
Right.
Yeah, he had a man crush on Vinatieri, but that's a different story. So we got to interview all these different people, and evidently this was we recorded this up, and I sent it over to you, Mike, and you sent me a message back. He said, "Wow, you recorded with," and what was her name?
Shawn Johnson.
Shawn Johnson. I was like, who is he?
No, you didn't.
I can't not believe that you had no idea.
I never heard of her in my life.
Olympic
so
champion.
You interviewed her and you didn't even remember it?
I did. I remembered it, but I didn't.
Dancing with the Stars champion.
Little 4'8", 10.
Not ringing a bell.
You don't remember looking down and talking to this girl?
I do remember her, but I don't know who she was. I even had asked the person, who is she? And
you did not. You asked a handler.
You asked her?
No, I had her handler, though.
You did not. That's just as bad.
Oh. She could flip circles around you.
I bet she could, but she was on crutches, so I could have taken her at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was. That's very insensitive of me to say, and I apologize. But anyway, what follows are some interviews with some of these athletes and stars and everything, and it was a lot of fun, and it was interesting to be over there. So here's some what we talked about with some of the stars that happened to stop our way.
We're speaking with Ron Jaworski from ESPN. And Ron, you were talking a little bit earlier about, the kids and obviously your connection. You've been working with ESPN for quite a while now.
Yeah, 19 years actually.
19?
Remind me of that.
What does it mean to you to be over here at Walt Disney World? I mean, obviously, it kind of brings out the kid in you a little bit, doesn't it? Even after all these years?
Well, I'm still a kid, And in fact, it's kind of, you say that. I played football as a pro for 17 years. I played in college for 4 years. I played in high school for 4 years. That's 25 years. I played football. It was fun. It was a game. I played the game. and I've been very fortunate now for the last 19 years to cover the game. You know, I tell people I haven't worked a day in my life. You know, I really enjoy what I do. I have fun with what I'm doing, and when I come out to to Disney World and see what's going on here and see so many young people, I get excited. I get very excited when I see the young kids being involved in athletics because they learn tremendous lessons, life lessons on how to compete, how to be a good sport, how to compete hard and try to do your very best. And it's not always going to be, showing up on the scoreboard that you win, but if you give your very best, you go to bed at night feeling good about your efforts.
Absolutely. One last question for you, Ron. You've been doing ESPN the weekend for a couple of years now. What's your favorite ride when you come down here? Is you got to go sneak away for a little bit and ride an attraction that does it for you? What's your favorite?
There is no doubt it's the Tower of Terror.
Nice.
In fact, I was here when it first opened doing the ESPN College Awards show, and I went on the ride with Warren Sapp, and I think Warren's scream is still heard around this area. So,
Thanks very much for your time. Matt Hochberg, WDW Today. How are you?
How you doing?
Speaking with Tim Hudson, pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. And Tim, as a Marlins fan, it pains me to talk to you a little bit, but I know that you've done quite a bit in your career, coming over from Oakland with the Big Three, and now you've been pitching with Atlanta for a little while over here. What does it mean to you, though, to be able to come down here and do spring training at Walt Disney World?
Man, I'll tell you what, it's awesome. I mean, I don't think there's a better spot in spring training in Florida, and probably in spring training in Fort Ord, Arizona than here. It's a great facility, man, top-notch. Everything's awesome, man. You get to hang out at Disney World with the family, and it's awesome.
Yeah, you grew up in Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you must have come down here to Walt Disney World a couple times on vacation, no?
Yeah, I did, man. But I'll tell you what, man. This Wide World of Sports, the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex here is, phenomenal. So you can't beat it.
Absolutely. Last question. Favorite attraction?
Favorite attraction? Oh man, my apartment. My couch after workouts.
You don't go playing with the guys over to the park real quick?
Yeah, well, you know what? I have 3 small kids, man. So we tackle Disney. Mickey Mouse don't know what's hitting them whenever the Hudson family comes into town.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Bobby Cox is the manager of the Atlanta Braves, and Bobby, it's your last season. I'm sure you're proud of a lot of things over your storied career, but the ejection record. Is that one you have? What does that mean to you when you had to be gunning for it at some point, right?
Absolutely not. I think if Lasorda had kept managing, he'd be ahead of me right now. So it's a matter of spending a long time at the big league level and, getting tossed a couple times a year is all it means. It's nothing that I'm proud of. I like the umpires, always respected them, and part of the game.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm sorry. If you could say to a young manager, what's the toughest act you have to do as a manager, what would you say that would be?
Well, I don't know. They always taught me, you got to learn how to handle your pitching staff. So that's one of them, and they should be good communicators and treat the players fair.
Great.
Talking with Karl Ravech and the New York Jets. Being at Walt Disney World, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot of smiles and a lot of excitement. It's a good thing to be down here. I haven't been down here in a couple years. So the next time I will come, I'll bring my family and we can have some fun.
Absolutely. What's your favorite attraction in Walt Disney World?
I think the rides, just the rides overall. It's a different setup. I'm from Pittsburgh, so we had Kennywood. If y'all don't probably know about this, it's a small amusement park, but this is huge. It's a lot of 3D stuff. It's a lot of excitement out here that you can get into some of these rides and have fun with.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Never watch your show without doing, my fantasy baseball.
Where are you from?
New Hampshire. Boston Red Sox.
WDW Today.
Massachusetts.
Oh, originally from Chelsea.
Are you?
Talking with Karl Ravech here from Baseball Tonight. And Karl, my team's the Marlins. I know you guys spend so much time covering them. The Red Sox are just secondary, but
that's not fair. We cover the Marlins a lot. We have Josh Johnson on the other day. We cover the Marlins.
Absolutely.
And the Marlins deserve to be covered this year.
What do you think is the team? What team stands out to you the most in 2010 to look forward to?
Well, it's actually the team that also plays in Florida. I like Tampa. I think Carl Crawford's got a chance to be the MVP this year. Anybody in contract year, so I'd keep an eye on the Rays, especially in that division. Where you can get lost behind the Red Sox and Yankees. So the Rays are a really good team. I think that any team in the AL Central can win that division, maybe with the exception of the Royals, but that's a great division. There's a lot of teams. We had Aaron Boone come on and think that there were 24 teams that would be disappointed if they don't make the playoffs.
Absolutely. One last question for you. You've been doing ESPN the weekend for a couple of years now. What's your favorite part about doing ESPN the weekend?
I was asked a couple of times, do you get tired of signing autographs? And I'd say that if we're not signing autographs, people aren't watching. So I never get tired of it. Being around the people is great. so that they can see that we're actually human beings instead of just people on television. That's my favorite part.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate it. We're talking with Shawn Johnson, Olympic athlete. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Now you're here at ESPN. You're here at Walt Disney World, and I know if you didn't have the injury that's afflicting you, you would probably be on a lot more rides out here. But what's your favorite ride out here?
My favorite one is Everest. I've been here a few times, and I've rode it probably a million times. So.
Favorite ride. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, Annika. Matt Hochberg from WDW Today. We're talking with Annika Sorenstam, and you're one of the most accomplished professional golfers in the world out there, and you've been invited to something like ESPN The Weekend over here. What does that mean to you when they told you that they'd like you to be a part of this?
Well, I was honored, obviously. I mean, some great athletes here. I mean, all kinds of sports. It's always fun to mingle with them. This facility is amazing, so... I mean, like I said, when I was asked, I was happy to be here.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure you got a chance to go to the parks for a little bit, maybe ride something.
I have not. I live in Orlando, and I hardly go to the park.
Really?
But now we have a little girl, so we're starting to think about, it's another part of life that I just haven't experienced. I mean, I've been traveling and, the last 15 years. So, again, it's a new chapter. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Annika. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Matt Hochberg, WDW Today.
Yeah.
We're talking with Howie Schwab. Now, Howie, you obviously host the Stump the Schwab All-Star Edition at ESPN The Weekend.
Yes.
And, last year wasn't the best year for you. There were a couple shows where you kind of didn't.
Last year was pretty good. I was it was 10-1-1.
That's not bad.
Or 10-2-1. 9-2-1. 9-2-1. I lost the last one. The year before, I had too much fun. I was clowning around a little too much and wasn't Hey, but you know what? People are good. Since we did the show, a lot of people really got into it, did trivia, and I was a little rusty. It's okay. I'm fired up.
You got a plan for this year?
Just concentrate. Think about the question, get a few answers in my head like I used to, and just have fun. The key thing is this: have fun this weekend. What a great weekend. You see all these great athletes, all these celebs, all the ESPN personalities, and the fans love it, and I love being with the fans. We just have a good time. We talk sports. Some kid over there just asked me a USFL question, blew me away, but it's all good. Hey, we just have fun. That's the main thing.
Thank you, Howie. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Talking with Brian Dawkins from the Denver Broncos. Now, Brian, you were born in Jacksonville.
Yep, right up the road.
Did you ever get a chance to come down here to Walt Disney World?
Absolutely. As I got married, obviously, with my kids, we came down. I lived here for a while, a couple of years here in Orlando, so we frequented Disney World a lot of times.
And what's your favorite attraction coming down here all the time?
Love the Rock and Roller Coaster. Is that the Rock and Roller? I love that ride, and that would probably be my favorite place to be.
Awesome. Your wife ride that?
Huh?
Does your wife ride?
No, she will not ride it with me for whatever reason. But me and my kids, we will ride on it time and time again if we could.
Awesome. Good luck next year. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Hey, season ticket holder from 1969.
Fantastic. Good stuff.
Up in New Hampshire, and I want to thank you for all those wonderful kicks. I want to ask you one question. We call you Mr. Clutch. What is the most memorable kick you've ever made?
The one in the snow, I think, is probably the one that I'm the most proud of. It's by far the hardest one that I've had to make. 45 yards, 4 inches of snow. If I miss it, we're done. The season's over. And I think that catapulted our team. Continued us on in the playoffs and kind of kept building momentum, and we won a few championships there after that. So I think that one's probably the one that I was the most proud of. And there's been some cool kicks in Super Bowls that mean a lot to me, and maybe even more meaningful, but the one that I'm the most proud of and the craziest one's definitely the one in the snow.
Have you seen the 3 championship rings? They're on display.
I'm going to go check them out.
Take care.
All right, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep. See ya.
So, Matt, now do you know who Shawn Johnson is?
Now I know who she is, yes. And I will always remember her, and I'm sure it will never come up ever again. Like, I will never see her ever again. I hope she'll be on some TV show, and I'll be like, that's the girl that I thought was a guy, and I had no idea who it was. So
I would never confuse her with a guy, that's for sure.
Somehow or another.
At any rate, this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes. And you know what, Mike? There's no confusing the awesome value that an All-Star Vacation Home has.
None at all.
No, you can't, it doesn't matter if they're on crutches, if you're an Olympic gymnast, if you're from Winston-Salem in North Carolina and you do the stupid Wolfpack thing, regardless of where you come from, you're going to know that the All-Star Vacation Home is a great value for you because you're going to get so much out of that All-Star Vacation Home. You're going to get your own private pool, full kitchen, and everything's it's all brand new, immaculately decorated. In fact, if there might even be an unofficial guide in your room because Len Testa's been there. So, I mean, these are just some of the things you're going to find at a typical All-Star Vacation home. Check them out online right now at www.allstarvacationhomes.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I'm Matt Hochberg from TentFest. See you later.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.